So, dear students, I'd like to introduce to you the rector of this university, Mr. Torkunov. It's the expert on foreign policy. He's been serving time in embassies of Korea, in the United States, Russian embassies, and since 30 years he's now managing this institution, developing it and leading it to a situation where it is today the probably most prestigious and well-known institute. And without any further introduction, Mr. Torkunov, may I ask you to say a couple of words from here, from wherever.
Thank you very much for your kind words. Dear friends, colleagues, I want to welcome you at МГИМО University. It's our great pleasure and honor to see you here, to host you here. And I'm absolutely sure that your visit to Moscow, you know, this is spring in Moscow, the best time. During your visit, you'll enjoy your stay in Moscow, not only because of your business goals, but because of the pleasures, sightseeing you can get here. As far as I understand, you just watched a short documentary about МГИМО, and you understand that it is not only a venue for academicians, students, but it's a real hub of social network which has been creating since its foundation in 1944. By the way, the institute was created during the World War II, as you understand, and it was the special decision made by the Soviet government and signed by Stalin himself to create this institute, and the main goal was to train the new generation of young diplomats for post-World War II era. And first students of these universities came from the France of the World War II, or Great Patriotic War, as we call it here in Russia. And among them, we even had 5 heroes of the Soviet Union. You know, hero of the Soviet Union is the highest order in the country for many, many, many years during the Soviet Union era. Almost 80% of the first students were former soldiers and officers of the World War II. And the first professors who came to these universities were the greatest scholars from the Moscow State University, Lomonosov University, as well as our practitioners, I mean distinguished diplomats, not only of the Soviet school, but even of the Russian time of the Russian Tsar schools. And among them, prominent academician Tarle, who wrote, I think, the best book about the history of Napoleon, which was published, you know, in 20 or 25 languages, and some others, including Professor Krylov, who was one of the authors of the United Nations Charter. He was in the group of American and British and Soviet scholars who prepared the draft of the UN Charter during the World War II. According to commonly recognized statistics, МГИМО takes second, third place after Moscow State University, Lomonosov University, when it comes to the number of alumni who keep the highest position within the state hierarchy and Russian business. If the first can be explained by unique position of МГИМО within a foreign policy community, the last is merely quality seal and recognition of usefulness of knowledge we provide to our students. In return, of course, we get support and strong advice of those who are successful in business, how to tune better our education, what should we do to be more competitive. Today's meeting with you is really interesting for us. Sure, we advertise MGIMO, but at the same time we provide you better understanding of whether and how Russian state and business elite, so I don't like this word too much, forges and crafts. I should say that in recent years we established very strong and good relations with many huge Russian corporations, and what is absolutely new for us is the master programs we opened in recent 5 years in close cooperation with our companies such as Gazprom, Rosneft, Russian technologies, and what it means, joint master programs. We are getting financing from these companies for these master programs. But they participate in the selection procedure of candidates. And of course, we invite candidates not only from the graduates of our bachelor programs, but from many technical universities and natural science universities as well, or classic universities as well. So this is the unique synergy of the knowledge in the area of humanities as well as knowledge in natural sciences. And of course, the representatives of these companies participate in the educational process, in the training. And the students of these master programs, they spend 3 months in these companies with which we are cooperating. The other very important thing which we also started to practice in recent years is our research activities on requests of different Russian and foreign companies. For example, for 7 years we have cooperated closely with BP here in Moscow. And frankly, we are getting very substantial support for BP, for our educational as well as research programs. But I'm absolutely sure that our cooperation is mutually beneficial, not only for our university, but for BP as well, because during these times we prepared a lot of very good and materials of high quality for this company, which is very active in Russia, as you may know. Maybe I'll ask the chief of my staff to say, because he's in charge of these activities, to say a few words about these activities of the university, just a few words. And I want again to thank you for your coming and to say that we are happy to host you at our university. Maybe in the future, or maybe even in the past you did it already, you'll meet a lot of our graduates working not only in Russian companies, but also in international and foreign companies as well. By the way, we got a very good statistics from the United Nations headquarters. It turned out that among the graduates of all universities in the world, MGIMO has the highest number of graduates in the staff of the United Nations in New York, Geneva, Vienna, and other places where United Nations has its mission. So it's not only Russians, by the way, of course, not only Russians, because among our 6,000 students, we have about 1,000 foreign students from 55 countries. For example, the director of the United Nations Organization on Education and Culture, UNESCO, I mean, is the graduate of our university, Irina Bokova, who is the citizen of Bulgaria. And we have even our high-ranking officials in NATO staff in Brussels, as well as in the European Union staff, European Commission staff in Brussels as well. So it's a genuine international university with international community of students, and I'm absolutely sure that in the future some of you will meet with our graduates as your former staff member. Thank you.
Just a few minutes because we're really limited with time, and two prominent professors, they're waiting for you for discussion and lectures, and that is why I'll be really short. Just to give you some hints to what extent cooperation with business is really important for us. Though it sounds in the title of the university that we are state university, only 17% of our overall budget we got from the state. And it's really a figure even for Western universities. The rest we own ourselves. That is to say, it's at about 65% we own from the students, those who pay, but the rest from these 83% we own because of our relations with business. And business is ready to invest to MGIMO. And if we judge according to the so-called endowments, these funds of capitals that universities could grasp, and it's quite a unique creature for Russia that had started its realization just 2 years ago. We have the biggest endowment in Russia. It's slightly more than 500,000 rubles, and we managed to get this money in spite of the crisis that happened in the year 2009, and down our endowment had been founded in the year 2008. And this Endowment Council of Trustees and GIMO Council of Trustees, we managed to bring there the most prominent businessmen from Russia and the CS, and most of them, they're former GIMO graduates, such people as Usmanov, Shadiev, Patanin, those who are soundful even in the West. Another form of cooperation is our joint ventures with the companies, and Rector already mentioned some of the joint ventures. It's joint master program with Russian technologies. It's joint venture with Rosneft, the biggest Russian oil company. Also, it's joint venture with some smaller companies, but those who are really active in Russia and in the CS. It's ADV Corporate and Public Affairs, one of the best advertisement companies in Russia. That is to say, they organize these master programs according to their specialization. For example, this ADV Group master program, they work in public relations. Rosneft, they keep their own corporate, as we say here, on energy affairs, energy security, and we're going to develop this procedure. Also, we have so-called corporate modules, because sometimes companies, they're interested, let's say, in specific knowledge, and only them, in cooperation with the universities, could provide this kind of knowledge. And here, for example, we had a number of so-called BP courses on energy affairs, and these energy affairs, they were somehow disseminated, distributed, if you like, among different schools of MGIMO. That is to say, it's law school of MGIMO, economic school, school of international relations, and even of political sciences. And thanks to that, I guess, within previous 5 years, we managed to become one of the best Russian universities. Those have really professional knowledge and even experience when it comes to consultancy, to energy companies. We also look for foreign business for closer cooperation, because we understand that Russian business is not something autonomous within world economy, and here we work with Spanish and Italian companies mainly. It's Bank Santander and a bunch of Italian companies, and now I hope one of the best and really important, according to the amount of money they're could invest. The MGIMO will be a company, energy company, Italian energy company, NL, that is really very active in Russia. They have a few energy companies all over Russia, in Russian South, in the Urals, in Moscow region, and now we are enrolled in negotiations with this company. And also relations with, let us say, specific businessmen, those who are our alumni, or those who are linked with the MGIMO because of, let's say, purely humanitarian links. It's really quite useful baggage, if you like, for the MGIMO, especially when it comes to lawyers. Mainly all lecturers, teachers in law, those who lecture financial law, corporate law, civil law, they're corporate lawyers. Corporate lawyers or lawyers are those who work in commercial arbitrary courts in Moscow, in Vienna, in Warsaw, and even in Singapore, where we also have our graduates. That would say it's a kind of really, as Rector said, synergy of business and education. And I suggest you to look at this synergy, and probably you will find some kind of interest, some kind of options for our cooperation. Now I leave this stand, and before this I have to announce that this group is going to be divided into two subgroups. People, those who are interested in lecture on Russian contemporary internal politics, these people stay here, and those who want to listen to about Russian energy and its interactions with world energy, these people join me and Professor Simonia, who will lecture in another hall. So, and then we all back unite for the lunch, and we'll listen to one of the Russian tycoons, Mordashov.